face. Lao Li apologized for making them wait so long. The woman told him that today they would go to the Alley of 1,000 Flowers to buy a villa there. Didn't his son say yesterday that he was the owner of this place? So let him leave the most expensive villa for them. The man replied that they should not take seriously all the nonsense that his stupid son was talking about. When they left last night, he scolded him for his bad behavior. He said that, frankly, he couldn't afford a villa. I heard that it is worth tens of millions. The man is afraid that they will think of it as a joke, but in his entire life he has never been to the villa. The woman thought that, after all, a hillbilly is a hillbilly. The man noted that if they don't return, it's almost noon now, so why don't they go and have lunch together, where they can also discuss all the details about housing. He said that he would call the guy to come there. He will pay for the check himself so they can order whatever they like. Lao Li called his son and asked where the guy is now. How about having lunch with your dad? Li Taishuan replied that he had an appointment with the manager of the department in the 1,000 Flower Alley. This will take some time. He will come to him as soon as he is free. Now he is the owner of thousands of flowers, so he is really overwhelmed with all this paperwork. The woman thought, God, this is an old phone. Its speaker is too loud. Snatching the phone from the man's hands, the woman began shouting how shameless he was. Still lying and pretending to be the owner of the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers. He even lied to his own father. Just let him wait. She will expose all his lies as soon as she arrives at the Alley of 1,000 Flowers to buy herself a new villa. The man asked the woman to please remain calm. This is all some kind of misunderstanding. His son is just joking. Don't let him take it seriously. Lao Li thought what his son had done. He doesn't know how to brag. He should know when to stop, and now, what will he do when his lies are exposed publicly? Did the guy ever think what kind of humiliation his father would face? He would never be able to survive and show himself to anyone. The area of the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers is located in a prosperous area of the city. Their owner has invested billions of yuan in this grandiose project. The man said it looked very expensive. Qi Shuang kept saying that she wanted a house as big as this. Lao Li said it was too expensive. Why don't they go somewhere else? The woman didn't even pay attention to him and told the girl that she was there to see Li Taishuan. Could she call him, please? The girl replied that she was very sorry, but they only have Zhang Hong. They don't have anyone with that name. Looking at the old man, she asked, did he hear everything correctly? There is no one named Li Taishuan there. Now let him just call his son and ask him to come there so that he can explain everything to them. Looking at her, the man thought that he knew that his son had done something bad to her, but he was just a child. They are mother and daughter time. Why are they so angry and trying to humiliate other people? He asked the mother and daughter to be more reasonable and leave his son alone. He is his father. Even if the guy ever becomes powerful, he will never stop listening to him, and they also have to solve the problem between him and her daughter, so please let the matter go. He asked, why don't they go to the suburbs where prices would be cheaper? The woman started screaming. Is he mocking her? She is ashamed of him. How can he imagine that her precious daughter will live in the suburbs? Lao Li brought them there without money? If he doesn't have money, then let him go and get some kind of loan. If a man does not fulfill his promise, then she will never allow his son to live in peace. They just wasted several hours of their lives. With that said, she will not allow her only beautiful daughter to enter the poor village family. He asked the matchmaker not to leave, just let him listen to him. The woman replied that he should not call her that. She felt ashamed. Turning to the girl, he tried to negotiate. The man said that he only had 1,000,000, that's all he could give. So this villa in the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers is truly out of reach for a farmer like him. He hopes they will understand him. The woman told her daughter that suddenly this old man had 1,000,000 yuan. When the girl gets the house, let her kick him and her son out of there. She can rent out the property, or maybe sell it if prices rise in the future. The girl told him that it doesn't really matter if he doesn't have money. The most important thing is that he is such a reliable and honest person. The guy treats her very coldly, so she's really sad. In truth, there was a constant stream of second-generation rich guys chasing after her, all of them very successful. But the reason why she was with him all the time is because the girl never looks up to him to be honest with him. But now he himself has destroyed all her good intentions. So the man really can't blame her. If he wants to blame someone, he can only blame his deceiver son for being so dishonest. He thought that no, it was not his son's fault. It was because he was incompetent and did not have enough skills to help his own son. He doesn't even have the money to buy a nice house for him, and he also can't help him sort out his problems with this girl. Young Shao Kong approached them and said that this was a surprise. What are these wonderful ladies doing there? He began to tell the girl that what happened between them last time was entirely his fault. The guy truly regrets his actions and was looking for an opportunity to apologize to her. The woman asked the old man for permission to introduce the guy to him. His father is the director of the Noble Eastern Star School and has a large company under his own name. With a rich and influential past and a promising future, the guy is the most suitable candidate to be his daughter's husband. Young Shao Kong asked, "Who else is this?" Qi Shuang said that it was Li Taishuan's father, also a hillbilly, who promised to buy her a house. Her mother and she were humiliated by the fact that they could not afford anything other than a pitiful million-yuan house in the suburbs. Lao Li told her that what she was saying was a little inappropriate, at least calling him uncle. It's not that he doesn't want to buy them a house. It's just that the houses in Thousand Flower Alley are too expensive. A man can't afford that much money. The guy told the old man that the girl was absolutely right. He has neither money nor position, so let him not expose himself to ridicule. The guy thought that Li Taishuan was no longer the same as before. He had attracted and won the affection of many underground bosses in the city. But since it is his father, he must give him a great dose of humiliation. Handing the keys to the girl, he said that this is the key to his house with an area of 130 square meters in the Xi'an area. The guy is giving it to her now. Her birthday is just around the corner anyway, so let her accept this gift from him. The girl asked, "Is this true? Is this the same area that is the main part of the city's high-level community? Typically house prices there are over 4 million. Hugging the guy, she said that he treats her so well the girl decided to forgive him. Watching everything that was happening, the man did not understand how she could do this. The woman asked, "Does he see?" The guy belongs to one of the most elite families in Chu State. On the other hand, he and his inexperienced son, who became just a bully, she is really ashamed to be surrounded by such a person with such a low status. Lao Li asked, "What does this mean, and who is this guy?" Yang Shao Kong asked, "What does he mean? What is unclear is that Qi Shuang is his girlfriend and his poor son is not worthy of her." The guy called the guard over to him. He thought that this was the famous second-generation rich man in the city. He had recently discussed business with the sales manager and planned to visit the real owner of the Thousand Flower Alley. Such a big man cannot be provoked. He ordered this old man to be thrown out. Thousand Flower Avenue is the most first-class residential area in the Chu region. Such trash has no right to enter there. The guy thought that Li Taishuan had repeatedly oppressed and humiliated him in front of other big families, so he would use this opportunity to throw out all the disappointment that he had been holding inside himself until now. The man told President Li that this time they are only carrying out soft openings, since there is still some paperwork and there is still a little time left before the official opening of the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers. Although President Zhao is the person in charge for such an important decision as the official opening, he must personally decide how it will be carried out. One of the men told him that this was his first visit to the office. Let him introduce all the employees. The guards threw the old man out, telling him to get out of there. He didn't deserve to go there. Watching this, the girl said, "This is how far this rogue could go." The girls discussed that a rural resident of the area wanted to buy a villa in such an elite place. The second girl replied that she was very sorry that she was discussing matters with such a beggar. Why did he even think that he could come there, let alone buy a villa? Yang Xiaokong told the guards that people like him have no right to enter there. Let them never repeat this mistake again. The security guard replied that, yes, he understood everything. If this old man dares to enter again, he will break his legs. Li Taishuan asked whose leg he was going to break. Yang Xiaokong thought, what the hell? What is he doing there? How did it happen that no matter where he was, he bumped into this freak? The guy asked, who let Li Taishuan in? He just kicked his father out. Village people like them simply have no right to go in there. After the words were spoken, there was a strong slap in the face. He asked the guy who dared to raise his rotten hands against his father, is he really tired of living? After receiving numerous blows, Yang Xiaokong began to shout for the guards to bring this bastard to his knees. Everyone headed towards the guy. They began to say that they would teach this idiot a lesson. How dare he slap Master Yang Xiaokong? They started shouting that they were burning. The guy thought that today his heavenly immortal child, whom he helped with cultivation, has borne fruit. To deal with them, he only needed to look and they already fell to the ground and their minds were completely destroyed. Having stepped on the head of one of them, the guy said that if something happened to his father, he would destroy every person who dared or even thought in the slightest way about harming him. Let him remember, in the future, they won't look down on people. A man ran in and asked what was going on there. Yang Xiaokong told Manager Du to call the police. This guy needs to be arrested. He brazenly rioted in their sales office and even tried to kill the entire security team. The guy told Li Taishuan that he admits he can't beat him. But what about the police? The guy can't wait to see how their so-called all-powerful master can deal with her, or wants to say that he even dares to go against her. Today, he came there to find Manager Du, who could help him establish contact and get to know the big boss of Thousand Flower Alley, hoping to establish a cooperative relationship with him. The Avenue of 1,000 Flowers is the most luxurious area of high-class villas in the city. There are hundreds of villas throughout this area, and there are also dozens of buildings with rooftop gardens. This project is huge and unique. Once the partnership is successful, he could make a hell of a lot of money. Manager Du told President Wu Li that he didn't know the guy was coming there. Li Taishuan asked why he was so surprised. This is his property. He can come there anytime he wants. The man replied that, of course, but he just didn't expect to see him today. The manager said that, in fact, Yang Xiaokun came there to establish business cooperation with him. This is a very good opportunity to expand his connections. The man didn't understand why this idiot contacted the president and dragged him into this. Phoenix grabbed him by the throat. The guy asked who allowed him to speak. The man asked for mercy, asked for forgiveness, and begged to let him go. Li Taishuan shouted that he was the face of his company and decided to take care of these scoundrels. And all this after this dirt threw out his father. Does he think he will just calm down? It was his father whom they did not respect. Having released him, the guy said that he would save his life, only because he was not aware of all this. But the man no longer deserves to work there. He is fired. Let him get out of there immediately. Yang Xiaokong didn't understand what the hell. How is this possible? This guy is actually really the head boss of the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers. Every time this crazy guy humiliates him in public, always when he is trying to show off his influence and status. Zhang Hong shouted, "What the hell are they planning? This is the father of the owner of this alley, and they were trying to kick him out now?" The girls replied that they were very sorry. Please, sir, forgive them for their rude behavior. Approaching Li Taishuan, the guy asked what the gentleman was suggesting they do with them. He thought that although this guy is his best friend, he is also the owner of this place, so the guy should address him as master in front of strangers. This way, he can create his image as the boss of these cretins. He ordered the girls to bow and apologize. One of them began to shout, "Who is he to force her to kneel over such a trivial matter? Does he even know how disgusting it was to talk to that old farmer? She went through a lot for this job." The guy asked how this dirty harlot dared to insult his father. Regardless of whether she is a man or a woman, she must still be punished. She started screaming as her body suddenly caught fire. "Someone please help her. She doesn't want to die." The second girl knelt down and said that she was very sorry. She just didn't know who he was. May she please spare her life? Qi Shuang wondered, is this guy really the head boss and multi-billionaire of Thousand Flower Avenue? But how is this even possible? She doesn't understand how he could change so much in such a short period of time. Even the guy who is one of the richest people in the Chu region really wanted to establish cooperation with him. The girl's mother thought how ridiculous. Old Li's son owns the entire avenue of 1,000 flowers. It was so stupid of her to mock him for allegedly not being able to buy a normal house. The girl thought that the guy was strong and knew martial arts, but now he is also very rich. No matter how she sees it, he is far superior to young Xiao Kong. She thought that really. What was wrong with her? Why did she cheat on this guy? Li Taishuan told his father that he really wanted to give him a big surprise. So he bought an entire avenue of thousands of flowers as a gift so that he could enjoy a quiet life. The guy said that he organized all the things according to his taste, from gardening to fishing. He can enjoy all his favorite hobbies whenever he wants. He thought that after solving all the issues on this project, the guy would develop a life extension pill to improve and prolong the health of his father. But in order to make it, he must find some high-quality herbs and accumulate some spiritual energy in the altar. The man couldn't believe that in just one short month his son had become so amazing. It's really hard to comprehend, but this is not the right time and place to ask about it. He will wait for the right moment to discuss this with him. Among other things, he is proud that his son has become a famous person throughout the city. The man asked if his son could tell him how much this luxury villa costs. The guy replied that it was not that much, only 70 or 80 million. Qi Shuang thought that she wanted to live in the 1,000-flower villa. The guy has so many luxurious villas where she can spend her luxurious life. And now the house that young Xiao Kong gave her seems like a modest hut to her. The girl's mother called them dear relatives and wanted to say something, when suddenly the guy's father interrupted her. He replied that she should not call them that. He's tired of her lies. He won't fall for the same trick twice. The woman said he was so funny and had a good sense of humor. Turning to the guy's father, she said that her daughter could marry his son, since this is Slovenia bestowed by their family. In fact, she has already calculated the wedding date. May 8th is a very wonderful day. So why don't they have a big wedding ceremony for these two lovers? What will he say? Lao Li replied that this is his son's marriage, so he should be the one who decides, and whatever decision he makes, the man will accept it. He thought that the guy was no longer a child and knew what was good for him. As a parent, he should respect his opinion and support him. Grabbing his hand, the girl asked if they could start over. Snatching his hand away, he told her to get lost. The woman started screaming, "What the hell? Her daughter wants to start over, but he didn't even give her a second chance. How could he be so unfair to her? Let him ask you, is she lacking something, or does he think that she doesn't deserve him? Her daughter has a fabulous figure and a beautiful face. What more does he need from her? Let her tell him this. Even if he searches the region, he will not find anyone as beautiful as her princess. He thinks too highly of himself, but he's still not that good, and even if he changes her words, he'll never find a better woman than her daughter. If he doesn't believe it, just let him wait and see." Wu Yang walked in and asked this old lady, doesn't she think she's too noisy? The girl doesn't like noisy people. Snuggling close to the guy, she continued to say that this girl must be Li Taishuan's ex-girlfriend. She thought that the girl must be some kind of beauty, but what a big disappointment. As far as she knows, the girl is just from an ordinary family and is now working as a teacher at an Eastern noble school. For an ugly money whore like her, meeting a prince charming like this guy must be a blessing from her past life. The girl should feel honored to have once been Li Taishuan's friend. But it's a pity that not only did she not value her relationship, but she also made people antagonize him and also cheated on him by secretly meeting with young Shao Kong. Honestly speaking, even 100 or 1,000 of those guys would not be able to compare to Li Taishuan. The lady asked, must be Qi Shuang's mother. Although she is older than her, let him believe her. The woman looks much older than she thinks. If she is asked how old she looks, then let her believe that her answers will be at least 60 or 70 years old. The woman thought, is she blind? She is only 55 years old. How dare she say that a woman looks like an old woman? It feels like this girl is cutting it with her sharp tongue. She would so much like to kill this little bitch. But looking at her bodyguard, it seems that the woman cannot afford to offend this girl. Finally, Ouyang told her aunt, no matter how beautiful her daughter was, she would not always be able to live her life leaves and pleasing rich guys. They know that not all people are as merciful as this guy. There are people who are more adept at taking advantage of other people. The girl can guarantee that she will never find someone as wonderful as Li Taishuan. After they left, she said that she got carried away and completely forgot to introduce herself. Ouyang said that she was very pleased to meet him. She is Li Taishuan's friend, Ouyang Pei. The man thought that the guy had succeeded more than he thought. This girl is much more beautiful than that one. Her character is much better and her temperament is also good. Looking at the girl, he gave her a sign with his eyes. Taking the man by the arm, the girl said that he had only recently arrived in the city, so let her take a walk with him. The man thought that he still had a lot of questions. It seemed like today was not an easy day. Looking at his father, the guy thought that he didn't want the man to see this bloody scene now. Young Shao Kong immediately began to try to escape. Li Taishuan shouted that it was too late for him to escape. The guy grabbed him by the throat and started shouting, what was he doing? Let him go now. The guy lifted him high above the ground and then, with a sharp movement, let him go down. He tried to say that he hated Taishuan. If the guy kills him now, his father won't leave him alone. Li Taishuan replied that he need not worry. The enmity between them would not end so quickly. He will slowly torture him until the guy pays him back 1,000-fold. And today, he will receive some interest from it. The guy thought that young Shao Kong in the past was also one of the first culprits in the death of his father, but compared to the trauma and humiliation that the guy had ever experienced, even if he did not dream that he would leave him behind after all, I just broke his leg. He said, don't worry, the guy won't die so easily. Death will overtake him only when he wants it. His revenge will be long and merciless. The guy started screaming that his face hurt like hell. What did he do? Li Taishuan thought that he had gotten off easy. The guy won't kill him, but he'll let him taste their own crappy medicine. He will soon learn the true meaning of the words regret and agony. And this guy dared to appear in front of him again, and it seemed like someone was standing behind him and guiding him from the shadows. This venerable one has been reborn, and now his boiling blood is ready to take revenge on those who treated him unfairly. Freed from the grief and injustice that he had kept in his chest for so long, the guy will fix this entire world with his venerable immortal will, covering the heavens with his iron hands. And if anyone in this world dares to challenge the will of this immortal, then he will allow them to suffer and tremble at just the mention of his name. If anyone tries to get in his way, he will kill him. Li Taishuan told his father about the Avenue of Thousand Flowers. The fact is that the head of the Chu family gave it to him. The guy accidentally did him a favor, and in return he gave him the entire territory. He thought that lying to his own father was not very pleasant, but it was better than telling him the truth. It's not that the guy doesn't trust him, but if he finds out his real identity, it will bring him nothing but trouble, and he doesn't want his father to suffer even more. Lao Li replied that this was more like the truth. Since this is the case, then the guy must work hard to match the kindness of the Chu family. Li Taishuan told his father that he wanted to ask him something. It was about his mother. Why did she leave them? In his past life, his mother left them when he was still a small child, and she didn't appear until his father died. His father didn't tell him anything about her and almost never mentioned her. They don't even have a family photo. He vaguely remembers her. She was very beautiful and kind, but when he was only 4 or 5 years old, a naive and innocent child, and now it has been more than 20 years since he saw her face. His father may look like a weak old man, but mentally, he is very strong. In his past life, even if he was unjustly imprisoned, his father gritted his teeth and continued to live his life. He had never seen the man shed a tear, but now, this man with an iron will suddenly began to cry. Well, why does it seem to the guy that it wasn't just because of his mother that his father started to cry? There must be something else. There must be some reason why his mother left him and his father. The guy must find that sinner who destroyed the happiness and his family, no matter who it is. He must be prepared for the wrath of this venerable immortal. Lao Li told his son that he was not ready to tell him about his mother now. As now, he is still too weak, so rushing to find her guy will not only bring her even more trouble, but he himself may die. But there is one thing he can tell him. His mother loves this family and loves him even more. She left them to protect him. The man said that he should just look at the time. He had better go back to the hotel room. The guy asked seriously, "Does father still live in the hotel? Let him take him away." The father replied that he knows that the guy is now the owner of the Avenue of 1,000 Flowers, but this place is too dazzling for the eyes of this old man. So he would rather prefer to live in a normal hotel. The man feels better there. Filial piety, which means supporting parents but also fulfilling their wishes, allowing older people to live in accordance with their own ideas and beliefs. In his previous life, he did not take good care of his father because he was blindly in love with that girl. His father died because of his stupid actions, but the guy swears with his life that he will protect him from any injustice. He will give him the peaceful life that his father deserves. Young Xiao Kong told the guy that he must avenge him. He wants to make that guy's life worse than hell. "I want him to suffer from all kinds of more torture. I want Li Taishuan to beg for death." The guy replied that he shouldn't worry. He would personally help him take revenge, but he should be a little more patient. Li Taishuan had also angered sect master Xing Yi. When the time came, he would surely kill him himself. So they just had to wait and enjoy this show together. Let him not worry. They will also have fun with that guy. He understands that young Xiao Kong wants to kill him to quench his thirst for revenge. He just can't watch the guy suffer. It makes his heart hurt. After all, he is one of his most loyal people. And if that old weirdo doesn't kill Taishuan, he will call in part of his personal arsenal to deal with him. The man said that he had been spying on the old man all these days. He asked if you had found an opportunity to deal with him. Young Xiao Kong is in the hospital because of that old man's son. Since he was instructed to teach a lesson, he will honor the order. The guy answered the boss that their goal was on an antique street and he happened to be next to their store. The man replied that, "Good, great, it's time to do it the old-fashioned way." Yang told him that it's good. This is the famous ancient street of the city. Let him just walk here a little while. The girl is away on business. She promised to return immediately. The man replied that it was good. Then he would take a walk and look at the goods in these stores. Approaching one of the shops, a man said that it looked like Chinese porcelain antiques. "I wonder if my son will like it or not, but it's really well made." Suddenly a man with a vase in his hands flew straight towards him. When confronted, he began to shout that the old man had broken his vase. Lao Li replied to the man that he was really very sorry. The man began to shout, "At least he knows that the vase he just broke belongs to the Ming dynasty. It was just excavated, but thanks to an old man like him, it broke, and now he has to pay for it." The old man said that he was terribly sorry that he broke his vase. Let him tell its value. He will pay for it. Lao Li understood that this vase did not look too expensive. Perhaps he could afford to pay him and resolve this issue. Without thinking twice, the man said 500,000. The man asked, "Is the old man completely deaf? He wants his 500,000 right now. Let him not force him to repeat it again and again." Lao Li was thinking that he just wanted to look at some creations, and then, out of the blue, this crazy person appears and starts beating him. He shouted for the old man to stop wasting his time and give him the money. The old man replied that the young man should not be so unreasonable. He cannot give him 500,000, let him lower his price. Not to mention that the one who collided with him was him. Everyone saw this, after which he began to ask for help. Everyone avoided them because they didn't want to interfere with Boss Liu's affairs. The man pushed the old man again, told him to stop whining. No one cares who bumped into whom. He broke his vase and he will have to pay for it. Otherwise, he won't go anywhere today. The old man asked them to please believe that he really doesn't have that kind of money. He thought about the fact that he had 1 million, but the man earned this money with sweat and blood. He saved them for his son's wedding. How can he give them to anyone now? Lao Li said, "Okay, how about 50,000? He can only give him 50,000, no more. It's better than nothing." Smiling, the guy replied, "It means that this old nothing still has some cash. And now he will make him an offer. Let him give him 600,000, although, no, 700,000. After he receives this money, he will immediately be allowed to leave. The more time he spends, the more money he will have to pay, so stop wasting the guy's time and bring his money. The clock is ticking." If he knew that this would happen today, he would not have come to this place. What should the old man do now? How to get out of this trouble? Lao Li asked, "Why don't they believe what he says? A man can't give 500,000 yuan. It's simply too much money. Let them understand his situation and let him go." The boss asked, is he telling him to let him go? But no, he can't. The old man sees that the man is human. If he doesn't have money, then let him call his family so that they can bring it to him, or take out a loan or something else. He doesn't care. He wants his money. From the crowd, Ouyang shouted for them to stop right now. When the girl returned from the toilet, the guy's father was nowhere to be seen. She also noticed a crowd of onlookers who were going to watch for some reason. And then the girl saw how some hooligan was mocking her father. She shouted, "How dare he raise his dirty hands against his father? Let him go now." The guy told her to shut up and mind her own business. But if she wants to save this old man, then it's better to give 1,000,000 yuan instead of him. It's like the little girl shouldn't meddle in other people's affairs. Helping people is of course good, but sometimes it can lead her to even more trouble. He thought that, wow, he hadn't seen such a beauty for a long time, and she didn't have the courage. Ouyang asked, "Did he say 1,000,000? Handing him the check, she told the guy to take it and now let him go right now. The boss asked if she thinks he was born yesterday. How can he trust the person he just met? And is this check real or not? He wants to get his money in cash. And anyway, before he was just joking. That she is serious about this. So if the girl really wants this old man to be released, she should pay him at least 2 or 3 million. The girl shouted at him not to tempt fate. Let him take the millions and screw it up. Otherwise, the consequences would be serious. She wanted to spend some time with her father, and that was why the girl did not take bodyguards with her. If they were there, she would not have tolerated this baboon for so long. The man asked what was threatening him. Now the girl has really piqued his curiosity, and he really wants to see how serious the consequences will be. In short, none of them will leave until he sees his 3 million. After the words he said, they were driven into the store. He said to call his family and tell them to bring 3 million there, and let him remember, she will not be able to leave this place until she pays him the full amount. Under the orders of Boss Liu, he successfully brought this old man here. Let his lesson begin. This old man will remember his instruction for the rest of his life. First, he will break both of his legs and then throw him out into the street. who asked Li Taishuan to contact him with the Yang family. Even if he doesn't know who Miss is and how she is related to that guy, judging by the fact that she came to the aid of this old man, she must be someone close to him. Despite the girl, the old man said that he was very sorry. It was all his fault. The girl told him not to worry. She had already called his son. He would soon come and save them. And when he comes, he will crush all these scum like ants. The guy replied that they had just made his job easier. Turning to the little miss, he said that this is his fortress on this ancient street. No matter how powerful he is, the guy will not be able to even set foot there without his permission. So when he comes there, this place will be his grave. He called Boss Liu and said that he had caught the man wanted. This is his father. Why doesn't the boss come and see him in person? Suddenly the ground shook. The guy asked his brother what was going on. The others behind them simply disappeared into nothingness. He began to shout, "Who dared to mess with him? Let him show his face." The guy asked his boss to please save him. The man didn't understand what the hell. Who was it there? His people. Where did they all suddenly disappear? Lan Wu asked, "Is the uncle looking for someone?" He shouted that she scared him to death. Where did the girl come from? And who is she anyway? Is it possible that this was all arranged by her? The girl answered how she could do anything bad. Now, let him give her his fucking soul and die. From the blow he received, he fell to the floor. He started shouting that she was just a demon. Running towards the exit, the man shouted for someone to save him. Upon entering, Li Taishuan kicked him. The man asked who the hell dares to kick him. Grabbing him by the throat and lifting him above the ground, the guy said that such an insignificant ant like him dares to raise his hand against the father of this king of the gods. It dawned on the man that this must be his doing. He began to say that the guy dared to invade the antique street. Liu Laolu will definitely kill him. Let him remember his words. After which the guy hit him on the floor with all his might. Li Taishuan said that since he likes to talk like an important person so much, why don't he break the guy's jaw and see if he can talk like that in the future? Suddenly, someone shouted that enough is enough. Let them stop all this immediately. The man began to tell Boss Liu that he was glad to see him. Let him please help him. Liu Laolu shouted that he had said enough. Let this little brat not be so self-confident. Do not forget that he is on his territory. Li Taishuan shouted for the man to shut up. Who was he to tell him what to do? Boss Liu asked who he was. The guy is an ignorant fool. He told him who he was. Owner of the famous Heavenly Blessing Shop. Everyone there respects his orders. He rules the entire antique street. Watching what was happening through the door, the guy said that this is very bad. This boss Liu is one of the most terrifying bosses of the city's underworld. Last month, that old salesman and his entire family died in a car accident. But everyone knows that it was not an accident, but an obvious murder planned by him. That his parent broke the most precious vase, and now the guy injured one of his people. The man must settle scores with this scoundrel today. Let him remember his words. None of them will leave this store until the guy gives him 3 million today. Li Taishuan asked, "Really? Then he will also get down to business. Let him pay him 100 million for harassing his father, and he will reduce the severity of his punishment. Otherwise, the consequences will be fatal for him." The guy didn't understand how he dared to blackmail the father of this immortal. Laughing, the man asked, "Is the brat sick or something like that?" Before this, no one dared to speak like that in front of him. So, since he has a desire to die, he will correct it today. Liu Laolu gives him one last chance to make a quick phone call and get all the help he can. Let's hurry up before it's too late. Li Taishuan replied that if he insists so much, then the guy will also play slowly, so that his death will be a terrible torment. Calling him a brat, the man said that, to be honest, calling anyone now is useless. No one will save him. This kid got involved with the wrong people. He doesn't yet know what kind of big shot he's dealing with. The guy replied that it was the same. He had no idea who he was dealing with. Liu Laolu replied that enough was enough, his time was up. He ordered his boys to teach this bastard a lesson. "Let everyone step aside, Brother Diao has come." Upon entering, the guy asked, "Who dared to create chaos in this place?" The man asked to remove the dialogue. Did he come there to buy antiques? He needed to call and his subordinates would bring it to him. The guy doesn't have to come to his little store. Walking past the man and approaching Master Li, the guy bowed and said that he was there to receive his order. Li Taishuan pointed his finger at Boss Liu and said that this bastard dared to deceive his father and even threaten him. Let him tell him what they should do with him. Diao thought, damn it, Master Li is angry now. If this matter is not handled well, who in the city can bear Master Li's wrath? Approaching the man, the guy hit him on the cheek with all his might. He said he didn't come there to buy his damn stuff. Is he too brave? Dare to even offend Master Li? He doesn't want to live anymore? One of the guys shouted that Brother Pa had arrived. The man thought that Brother Pa Tai, now he will see if this little brat can still stand with his head held high and act so arrogantly. Liu Lao Lu told his brother that this guy dared to insult him, but something went wrong again. Approaching Mr. Li, the guy bowed and said that he had called all his subordinates there. There are more than 2,000 of them. All of them are waiting for his orders. They are honored to work for Mr. Li. Brother Pa shouted that today, anyone who dares to offend Mr. Li will die in this place. Approaching the boss, the guy asked what they should do now. Suddenly someone on the street shouted that Mayor Chen was coming. Liu Lao Lu said that now that his uncle is there, will he see if the guy dares to act so arrogantly? Even his people would have to bow their heads to his uncle. He thought that Mayor Chen was his distant relative, so he must have come there to protect him. So not only this little brat named Li Taishuan, but also Diao and Ji Pa will be punished. Turning to his uncle, the man asked him to help him. He asked if his uncle didn't remember him. His cousin's cousin is his second aunt's child, but his uncle passed him by. Bowing, Mayor Chen told Mr. Li that he had made inquiries about this place. This Liu was doing questionable things, deceiving tourists and threatening them with his power. And this is not the first time he has done this. They need to punish this criminal as quickly as possible. Turning to the master, the mayor said that he had nothing to do with this Liu. The man thought, the last time the famous idol Mu Dongwan Suo was captured by underworld bandits, if young Master Li had not saved that girl's life at a critical moment, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The man might not even be able to hold on as mayor. He said that although this guy had already come to his house many times with expensive gifts and tried to bribe him, he, like a highly obedient mayor, threw him out. People didn't understand what military tanks were doing on the streets. Suddenly, a weapon was aimed at Liu Lao Lu. The man asked what were they? Lasers? Su Rong told Mr. Li that he was eternally indebted to him for saving Mu Dongwan Suo's life. After the call, the man immediately gathered his personal strength and rushed there. If he has any orders, just let him tell them. The man said what he thought. This time they got involved with nothing human. It looks like they came to start a cold-blooded war or something like that. Tanks and soldiers with heavy weapons, but who is he? Liu Lao Lu thought that Yang Shao Kong was a son of a bitch. If he had not set the man on this guy, then he would not have gotten into this mess. How can a guy get involved with someone so powerful so casually? Song said that he has nothing to fear, but how can one not be afraid of someone who can gather thousands of people and military forces with just one phone call? Kneeling down and bowing to Great Master Li, the man said that please forgive this arrogant fool. He is very sorry. Please let him have mercy. He begged the guy to spare his life. After striking the guy, he said that he was disgusting. The man committed the biggest sin of his life, threatening his father for another 3 million. He said that he had 3 million. Let the man try to take it from him. The man replied that he admits all his sins and does not dare to take a single penny from him, swearing with his life that he will never appear before him and his family again. May he please spare his life just this once. The guy asked how he could let him go so easily. He will torture him until they calm down. Li Taishuan ordered Diao to gather his men and begin to demolish the place and destroy all of his prized possessions. Diao told the guys that Liu Laolu opened this store on purpose to deceive people. All the antiques in his store are fakes that are not even worth a few yuan. From the looks of it, he must have spent a lot of money, so why don't they redecorate this store in their own style? The man said no, please don't let the guys do this. He asked if they could resolve this issue more peacefully. He screamed that he really spent a hell of a lot of money to buy all this, so please let them stop. Li Taishuan ordered Ji Pa to bring in bulldozers and raze the place to the ground. The man was on his knees and asked what they did to his beautiful store of heavenly blessings. He spent over 10 million to buy this place, but they destroyed it and turned it into a pile of ruins. Li Taishuan replied that he was giving him a month, during which time he must renovate this store and make it the same as before, after which the guy will destroy it again, and he will rebuild it again. This is how he will continue several more times. But don't even think about running away. If he escapes, the guy will hunt him down and kill him hundreds of times, and then he will torment his corrupt soul in the dark abyss. Looking at the guys, Mr. Li asked, as for them, non-entities, how did they even dare to touch his father? Let everyone go straight to hell. Whoever it is, if he dares to blackmail the father of this immortal king of the gods, or even lays a finger on him, must be prepared to die. The father asked, did the guy really invite all these people? He Taishuan spent 1,000 years in the heavenly realm, peering through the sea of time and the realms of nothingness. He saw the ebb and flow of the tides and witnessed the rise and fall of countless superpowers, as well as their deaths. He personally put an end to the destinies of many clans. Wherever the immortal Lord went, there were millions of corpses, blood flowed in rivers, and the sky was painted blood red. Lao Li told his son that they must visit their family shrine to attend the sacrifice ceremony next week, so they will leave for Yunzhou in 2 days. The guy replied that of course, he remembers this. Moreover, the man said that that girl, Ouyang Pei, is very sweet and kind-hearted, not to mention very beautiful. His son is already at such an age that it's time to get married. He knows their neighbor, and so he has already become a grandfather. At that moment, the man's phone rang. He picked up the phone and said, "How could that be? But why can't a man participate in the ceremony? This is simply unacceptable." Lao Li said that he should not forget that he is still a member of the family. Then the man is going to talk to Shishu Gong about it. He asked what he said. Was it his decision? The man will still be present at this ceremony no matter what the cost, because it is his right. He couldn't believe it. How could they behave so outrageously? Li Taishuan tried to calm his father down and asked him to tell him what the hell happened. He shouldn't be angry. It's bad for his health. The guy said that everything is fine. His son is nearby. Let Dad tell him what happened. He will deal with everything no matter what it is. Li Taishuan's secret sent his digit into his father's body. This will clear his meridians and help him calm down. If this anger accumulates in his body, it will cause great harm to both the mental and physical health of the father. The man didn't understand what was happening. Where does he get such cheerfulness and energy? Lao Li told his son that his second uncle just called him. He said that he didn't want them to participate in their ancestor worship next week because it would bring a bad omen for the entire Li family. He said that they blacken the face of the family. In any case, they are also members of the Li family. Why do they treat them like this? Excluding them is too much. The man thought that in fact their family was not so poor. Unlike him, his elder brother and second brother had achieved good success. The elder brother is a businessman and his family in the city is very wealthy and well known. The son of the second brother is a politician, young and has a great future. Of these 3 brothers, he is the only one who runs a small furniture factory and struggles to maintain his daily life. Li Taishuan thought that in his previous life, his uncles despised his father in every possible way, were callous and heartless, and there was no relationship between them at all. When his father died, they didn't even show up to his funeral. All he ever experienced from them was just oppression and ridicule. To him, they are just ruthless bastards. This time they behave even more outrageously, banning them from attending the ceremony. It is clear that they do not see them as members of their family. Li Taishuan said that they should not argue with anyone. Let the guy settle this matter in his own way. The guy thought that they must have heard that his father sold his factory and land, and that's why they acted so arrogantly. The guy told his father that they were returning to Yunzhou, and he promised him that this time they would attend the ceremony. Let's see who has the courage to stop him. The cruel abuse and humiliation visited upon him and his father by the family was like living in hell every day. This time everything will be different. Not long ago, a guy was reborn on this train. In his previous life, he went to Huzhou in search of Qi Shuang, but this time he returns back to his hometown. Although the two directions are different, the goal is the same, namely to wash away past humiliations and take revenge. The guy's phone rang. It was Fang Xiaodong. The boys are junior high school classmates and best friends and are also natives of Yunzhou. In his past life, even though they studied at different universities, the guys never lost contact with each other. The guy said he heard he was coming back to town today. Have you arrived yet? There will be Zhang Lingjuan's birthday party tonight, so please come and keep him company. He replied that yes, he had just arrived here. Thank you for inviting me. The guy will definitely come. The guy originally thought about driving the luxury car given to Chu Shuilian and going to the city, but his father does not like to drive this car, saying that it is too fast. That's why he accompanied his father back to the city on a high-speed train, but the guy told the girl to send this car there with a driver so that it would be more convenient for him to move around the city. The father asked the son going to meet his classmate from high school. Then he will not disturb him and will go home first. He replied that, okay, just let his father call him when he returns home. If the guy remembers correctly, class president Zhang Lihuan mysteriously disappeared after that birthday. But by the time the police found her, she had already completely lost her mind and became mentally unstable. Eventually, her family fell into despair and sent the girl to a psychiatric hospital. The rest of her life was very unhappy now. Looking back, it all seems very strange. After all, what happened to the class president after attending the birthday party? He remembers that when he was in high school, his grades in math were terrible, and the guy was always at the bottom of his class. So after school, the class leader always tried to help struggling students by teaching them mathematics. Even once when she had a fever and before going to the hospital, she helped them first. Not only was he in high school, his family's financial circumstances were not very good, and besides, his father had not yet opened his own factory. He was just a carpenter in a small furniture factory that was on the verge of bankruptcy. Sometimes it happened that he wasn't even paid. The rest of the students walked to school with their new school bags on their backs. Only his school bag was as old as it could be, with a few patches on it. In his memory, whenever a guy showed up at school with that old school bag, everyone would start laughing at him, and there would be a group of bullies who would always wait for him at the school gate to make fun of him and make fun of him. At the end of the winter break in the second year of high school, the school began collecting room fees, tuition fees, and other fees, which totaled 1,100 yuan. But father was still short of 100 yuan at that time. His first and second uncles were rich then, so his father took him to their home to ask them for money. In the end, they didn't even give them a penalty and kicked them out of their house. They said that some poor bastard who can't even afford the cost of them, let him get the hell out of there. If he is so poor, then just let him go and kill himself. Even though spring was beginning to come then, for his father it was the coldest day of the year. These harsh and merciless words from his uncles were colder than winter. They pierced his father's tender heart like an icy blade. The guy still remembered how, at that time, his father tried his best not to cry in front of him. The man said that he had no one to blame but himself. It cannot satisfy even the most basic needs. Let the son promise that when he grows up he will work as hard as he can and he will have a prosperous future. Therefore, it was at that time that he swore to himself that someday in the future the guy would have to earn a lot of money and rise above all those who ridiculed his father and cause them twice the humiliation that they caused his father. But his will was weakening every day. His father was very upset seeing that the guy was the only remaining student who had not paid for his studies, but he was still trying to collect several hundred yuan. His teacher constantly pressured his father to hand over money, which caused his father's stress and anxiety to grow even more. After many classmates found out that the guy could not afford to pay for school, they became even more unceremonious towards him. Grabbing his hand, the headman led him out into the street. He asked why she brought him there. Handing him an envelope, the girl said that he should take this money and quickly pay for his studies. If they have any difficulties in the future, they should not hesitate to contact her. This venerable lord still remembers the warmth and kindness he felt that day. She was truly a kind-hearted and simple girl who simply wanted to help people in need. Her kind deed filled his heart with happiness. Her family was also going through a financial crisis at the time, but despite this, she helped him pay for his tuition. Her sense of righteousness was truly commendable. The guy asked the driver to take him to a shopping area. He needed to buy a birthday present for his girlfriend. Zhang Liwan helped him through his most difficult time, and now that she was in his sight, it was his turn to help her. This immortal never forgets to repay his debt. His friends and family will be blessed with prosperity and will live in greatness, but those who defied him will burn in the flames of his rage. Yunzhou is only a small provincial city, and its economic level is much less developed than the coastal cities of Huzhou Prefecture. This was why Qi Shuang and her mother always looked down on him. It is also the only 3-star hotel in the area, where only the rich and respected people of the city have the right to eat. Well, he couldn't even pay for tuition, not to mention the fact that his pockets were cleaner than his face, and it was simply difficult for him to eat. In the first half of the semester, thanks to Fang Xiaodong's free meal tickets, he was able to eat normally for 6 months. The guy never worried about what others thought of him and treated him with respect and care. He is a very open and generous person. Later, his friend, he and the headman became friends and began to communicate together. Hugging his friend, he said that the guy had not changed at all, still as skinny as before. He should start eating more food. Fang Xiaodong hasn't seen him for so long, he looks better than ever. Li Taishuan replied that he was still as healthy and strong as a bear. Thousands of years passed, and even after becoming immortal, he always kept this sincere friendship deep in his heart. Only when he communicates with his friends can a guy be so kind. Fang Xiaodong told the guy that after graduating from high school, he did not go to college but returned home to inherit his father's business. His family owns a garment factory with 700 or 800 people working there. The business runs very successfully thanks to his father's kindness. The guy heard that he was a trainee teacher at Huzhou High School. He said that the position of deputy manager at his factory is still relevant, and he thinks that he is ideal for this position. Moreover, the guy can safely return to the city and take care of his father. When suddenly they heard a voice, "Isn't it the famous king of beggars in their class?" He heard that the guy went to another city to live with his girlfriend, but she left him, so he thinks that losing his dignity there is not enough and decided to disgrace the whole of Yunzhou. The guy asked what Zhao Jian wants. In the past, when the guy was in high school, this bastard was the famous bully of the school. He was the person that several of his henchmen followed. They often blocked his way to school to humiliate him, so at that time, they were his biggest fear. Whenever this happened, Fang Xiaodong always saved him. He was like a reliable older brother who protected his loved ones. Now that guy is just a pathetic ant to this immortal. Has anyone seen a dragon try to be like an ant? Zhao Jian said that it was the headman's birthday and asked what gift the guy brought her. He didn't think of just coming and eating for free, did he? This is not a place where he can just come and fill his belly. One of his guys said that if he was there for the food, they might find a way to humiliate him. We should give him some leftover food so he can eat at home. How does he like this idea? The guy remembered that in the previous junior school, these two